Welcome Twitch, welcome YouTube. Today we're doing another guide. This time it's gonna be Soviet heavy cruisers. Now, you saw on YouTube that I did a guide about battleships. And the reason why I did a guide about battleships is, well, obviously I want people to play better battleships. But mainly the reason is that I can put it into one guide and it's very comprehensive. Because most BBs have, they have different strengths, but the playstyle can be pretty different, pretty much the same, and not as different as cruisers. You cannot play a Soviet heavy cruiser like a British light cruiser, or you cannot play a Cobur like a Petropavlovsk. This is why I split cruisers into a bit more areas than BBs. I mean, you could argue I could do a secondary guide as well for Schrieffen, but that's a different story. We start, when it comes to cruisers, with the Soviet heavy cruisers, because they pretty much can be played the same. Like Petro, Stalingrad, and Moscow have different strengths, but in the end they have a similar concept, which means you have a cruiser that can tank very well. If used correctly. If you show broadside, you get deleted. Anyway, I'll take Moscow out as an example. Petro has the advantage of being lower in the water and having harder hitting AP. Meanwhile, Moscow's DPM is all on the other side better with the reload and the better HE. And Stalingrad, last but not least, has the best AP guns, but also the worst reload and is a massive target. For this guide, we're going to use the Moscow as an example. They share a lot of similarities. Pretty much, so we don't need to go over all three ships, despite having some different strengths. So, in this guide, we'll see how to position a bit with the ships, depending on the battle situation, how to play them, how to skill them, and what to do, what not to do. First of all, we go over the armor layout, and this is why I took Moscow as an example. It's a pretty big ship, so we can see it easier. The main strengths of Soviet heavy cruisers is that they're very durable. They can tank quite well if you know what you're doing. If you look here on the deck and side armor, and even at the front, you will see a lot of 50mm plates. Those 50mm plates mean that you cannot be overmatched by BBs. That means if, for example, the Yamato hits you at that part at an angle, it will ricochet and do no damage. Meanwhile, if you would have, for example, the cruiser with 30mm, you would get overmatched by the gun, no matter of the angle, and would take massive damage. This is why Soviet cruisers tend to be very tanky. Now, of course, the BB player can hit here, on this top, and here, and the superstructure, and will still do some damage, but it's way harder, and again, you are way tankier in general, which is a big strength. The problem is, you're still a cruiser, which means when you show broadside, you have only, for example, in case of Moskva, 155mm direct citadel armor, which means if that gets pens, you instantly get citadeled. It's quite big. This is why it's so important to angle with those ships, and this is why you always see these Moskva players. I'm not saying any names, but you do see quite a lot of Moskva players in World of Warships who show broadside and then get utterly deleted. Exactly the reason. Angled, very, very tanky, show broadside against, especially, cruisers as well, but mainly BBs on long range, you get completely deleted. So, kind of an all or nothing concept. It's really important to angle always against big threats that could potentially citadel you. Like if you have, for example, a DD, or let's say you have a Worcester on your broadside at like 12 km. Yeah, he's gonna do some damage to you with HG and AP, but he's not gonna citadel you. Meanwhile, if you have a Des Moines at 8 km on the other side, you should definitely angle against the Des Moines, because he will be able to citadel you at this range. Good. So much to the armor. Now we're gonna go to the ship builds, and I tend to run it in a very straightforward way. I like having grease of gears, because most turret traverse are not that good. I like having a shorter cooldown on the radar. I also like having a longer radar. Gun feeder in case we need to switch to HE. And then stuff like priority target, where you can judge if somebody launches torpedoes at you, or how many battleship players are hungry for you. Because there's also a lot of battleship players which are always hungry for deleting a Moskva. AR, self-explanatory, one of the best skills in the game. An extra radar, heal, and hydro, very good. Concealment expert for having better concealment. And top grade gunner if you are in the ship detection range of your ship, then you have a better reload, which is 8%, still pretty good. And if you look at Moscow's concealment, it is pretty bad with 14.1. I would still go full conceal. You always want to go full conceal. You don't want to have a Moscow with 18 cam conceal where you never go dark, because the bigger you conceal, the more worthless your radar gets, because your radar has 12 cam range. If you're spotted and you press it directly right now, there's a 2.1 km chance of the ship not being in radar range. The higher your concealment is, the bigger the ratio is where your radar couldn't work potentially. Now, that doesn't mean if you're spotted you should instantly press your radar. No, you should wait and look at the minimap, seeing if there's any evidence that the DD might be closer already or not. But again, go full concealment. For the modules, you want to go pretty much... I mean, this is a bit variable because I have the leg mod. But basically you want to buff fully your main guns and tankiness. In the end, if you don't have the legendary mod, go with reload. Moskva has really good range and very good shell speed. So you don't really need the leg mod. I have it because it is nice to have. It gives you a bit more range and even better shell dispersion. But if you don't have it, you can of course run reload mod as well. For the consumables, hydro, because the FA is useless, radar, and repair party. Let's go, let's start. Back, we're doing a guide at the moment, that's why I'm not replying to a lot of stuff. But good morning. Okay, good. We have a pretty tough matchup here. We don't have a lot of BBs, which is good for us. We do have, however, a CV, which is always one of those things that can influence the battle a lot of times in a very bad way. Now, we got Okinawa. Not really nice map. In fact, I do really hate it, especially our spawn. But we are now on the south spawn. We're gonna play on the south spawn, and now we need to think how we're gonna play it. We have 3 people here. We have a Smolensk and a Shima. Good. We have potentially spotting on the cap, but we will still play it safe. We'll still play it safe. What you don't want to do is, and I see a lot of cruiser players, or especially Russian cruiser players, end up in it, is you don't want to get caught nose in. Because no matter how tanky you are, you will get also extreme spam to death, and there will always be chunks of AP pens on you. So at the beginning, what I kind of want to do is here, I want to have an option where I instantly can turn away. Like kind of going a bit broadside here, but by the time I'm spotted, I can angle in time of incoming fire. For example, the CV now goes for us. And in fact, I can still play it very relaxing here, because both BBs are in the north. If there would be more BBs, we would need to play it way safer now. But since there's not really a lot of BBs, and all of them are out of range at the moment, we can play it a bit safer. They also have mostly light cruisers, besides Michelangelo. So we can play it more aggressive in this setup. Again, it vastly depends on what lineup do you have. The more BBs, the more careful you need to play. The more heavier cruisers, you also need to play a bit more careful. There's a lot of light cruisers now, which is very good for us. Which means we can bring our entire range of radar into the sea cap. We are spotted. That means there is something in front of us, either a submarine or a DD. It's not Gdansk, it's not Kaba, because we paid attention to the minimap. I'm gonna turn away here, because Moskva, Ohio has a hard on for me already. As you can see, that's the bane of being a Moscow player. But by the time his shells reach me, we're gonna be in a safe spot. Also, we are in range of the cap. That means I'm gonna press the radar button and get that Yugomo out of there. Now it's a bit of a shame that Yugomo player instantly went out of it. I thought he would be a bit deeper in, but he did play it pretty smart. Because also a lot of DDs, they just int in and then get raided and die. And he reversed with the back in so he can instantly escape, which is a good thing. Good. We blocked the cap so far, and now we're just gonna pummel a bit the Ohio here. Good. Now, let's see. That's the Yugomo smoke, most likely. Swanetz is going deeper in, which is fine by me. We're spotted again. Oh, Michelangelo is pushing out here. Got an angle against him as well. We can fire. By the time he can smash or shoot us, we're also angled enough. And now he's showing full broadside, which means AP. It's a very easy target to punish if it shows broadside. Boom. As you can see, very powerful AP rounds. Question is the Michelangelo now committing or not? Because that smoke screen looks still like it's going towards us. I'm a bit confused to be exact. Gonna switch on the Brisbane, but at the same time always be ready to turn an angle against potential Michelangelo AP. Because remember, he has, I think, 305mm guns, if I'm not wrong. Very good hit on the Brisbane. And we scared him also away. Now we're gonna switch to AP again, because we can overmatch him. Unless he overturns. He overturns, we're gonna switch to AP again. This is why expert loader is very important, chat. For moments like this. Oh, he's shooting with his guns. We gotta watch out about him. He's angled enough so we can't really punish him. Can also use one heal. If my team decides to push, though, we're gonna be a bit more aggressive. Also, we're still spotted. That means Yugomo is somewhere here. Which we should get ready for potential torps. Oh, he's in the cap now, okay. Now I'm gonna play it a bit more aggressive. I'm gonna turn around and press in. But we need to be in range where we can still disengage, because we cannot rely on our team to keep going like they do. Look, they're already turning around now, and we lost one guy. We need to play it a bit safer here. I do need to get in position so we can raid out the Yugomo. I'm gonna play it a bit aggressive more now because people are dying left, right, and center right now. And we do have HP to play around a bit with. Even though I'm very afraid by the Ohio currently. Also, I wasn't spotted, and now I'm spotted. That means Yugomo is definitely not in radar range. Something you desperately need to keep in mind. He's not gonna be in radar range for quite a long time. Good. We have a decent time of smashing some targets here. I'm gonna press now the radar button. Okay, you go more in a way. There he is, but not worth shooting. Now we need to fight against multiple opponents here, but I kind of need to do something in a way. We're running out of ships and caps rapidly. And I do have a chance of finishing off 2 targets here. Biggest threat is so far Ohio. Ohio shot me. Very dangerous. Unfortunately, Brisbane made it away. That's very unfortunate. And we're gonna go down here eventually. This is what I hate right now, because I need to force to play like this. Because we just gave away complete map control. Good sets of triggered and we are dead. Now one other problem we had here is kind of, you don't have really natural cover on this map, so you cannot artificially buff your concealment. And a lot of maps with radar cruisers, you can artificially buff your concealment by using map cover to come closer to a target. We'll go for another one, because this was a bit unfortunate in a way that we had to deal with quite a lot of opposition alone, and people did int on the full line, which is kind of sad. Now, we're still only 1 ship down, but the main problem is we gave all the caps up with no opposition. And I couldn't really go and completely contest it the whole time, because there were like 5 ships here. And unfortunately, our Shima died pretty early. So we're gonna go for another one real quick. But we still chunked up some nice damage and did somewhat decent. But to be fair, that Yugomo player was playing it very good. He was always aware of the radar range and he was playing it very safe. Which is good, which he should. Good. Way better map. We had A-cap. A-cap is a thing now. Now there's 2 options how to play it. We can play it nose in, because there's no CV. Or we still play it pretty openly. Now, since there's no CV, I will go the nose in strat and see how long we can go for it. Because there is ways to disengage. The problem is, if you have a CV and you go nose in on a position, especially island based, you can get completely griefed still. Which is the reason why I don't recommend you go into a nose in spot when a CV goes for you, because he completely pretty much takes your advantage of the cover and removes it, which is very important to check if there's a CV in game or not, if he's coming for you or not. Good morning, McLeod. Good. Now, luckily, we don't have a CV here again. We do, however, have a Condi. Condi is really dangerous, because if we do one mistake to him, we can get one-tapped. I'm not joking. It's if we do one mistake to him and he gets the FT on our broadside, we're done. We're completely done. So this is pretty much the biggest threat to me right now. And also, whenever you decide to like protect the cap with a cruiser, with a radar cruiser, in this case with the Moscow, always pay attention to your surroundings. For example, if we get shot here quite a lot and we need to reverse, be sure to not reverse too much in case there is crossfire possibilities from this area. Because if we reverse here, we show broadside and there is, for example, the Yamato, that also might be a very punishing shot on us. Actually, we're not playing it now. We're not playing it island base. We're gonna play it openly. We should be able to turn here without getting punished by the time we go out. I don't wanna be caught in here if there's like a major push, which could happen. Also gonna radar. And we're gonna go for the Hayate play, yeah. There was nothing really that could punish me this early on. I angled against Pommern. Got a bit of damage on Hayate, very nice. Pommern needs to kite away, he's not in secondary range. And he's now gonna suffer due to a lot of fires. In the meantime, we have Hydro, we're just gonna block our way like this. Because blocking it like this, we're angled against everything in game currently, pretty much. Unless there would be BB or Elbing or whatever here. We cannot really get, like, remotely punished. See, there was barely any damage now, as long as we angle to win. Again, if we would show broadside to the Pommern, we could also get smashed by him. But in general, not really. Good. Pommern is gone. Condi is also here. Also, if you paid attention, there is a smoke screen, which is most likely the Hayate. Yeah, there's the Hayate torps, which we can react now to. We have really good acceleration. We're gonna take this gap here. Ah, wait, they ran out. Yeah, 12 cam range. Never mind. And if we go dark now, we're gonna push. Why do we push? Our team decides to push, so we will support them. I think the Condi just used the burst fire, but I'm not sure. Also, I don't think he has the range. What's the max range of a Condi? 22.6. Okay, we're dark. We're gonna push now. Team decides to push, we go with them. If they would play it safe, we would also play it safe, because there's no point in going as a single chip in. Okay, let's push. Communication. And let's go in. Donsko is moving up broadside. We're gonna get ready for him. Switching to AP already. This is why you also need to pay attention to the minimap, so you get chances like this. Now he had enough time to angle, unfortunately. But still. My team is probably gonna focus on the Condi still. I'm just gonna make sure the Donsko is a bit away. Good. And now we're gonna keep shooting the Condi, because the Condi is by far a bigger threat than the Donsko. That Condi needs to go. If that thing is gone, the enemy loses a really big powerhouse. Again, as you can see, use the AP against broadsides, especially cruisers, because Moskva's pen is very good. And if the angle, just go for the HE, because the HE is also very potent. Oh, there's the Hayate, very good. Now we instantly gonna focus on the DD. And Hayate should be dead. Nice. Wow, okay. Very, very fast played. We're gonna go for one more. We'll give it one more time, because we had two kind of ruffle-ish stomps. Still pretty good in the team. Let's go. Last but not least, third battle. Sometimes you just can play the game 8 days for days, and it's just ruffle stomps or one-sided battles. But again, we had one win now, we had one loss. But I just want to see if it's a bit more... if it can be a bit bigger. And we have good and bad news here. For me it's bad news, but there is a CV in game. So that means we need to play it vastly different now, or way safer in a way. Because once he commits to, like here, best example, don't go nose in here, you will get caught and you cannot escape anymore. You need to play it safe on this position. If the multiplayer decides to go for our side, it will be, I mean, it will be frustrating regardless, we don't need to talk about that. But if you go nose in there, you're pretty much dead. You're guaranteed dead if he goes for you. Because there's no way you can make it out of the position. If you stay, you get farmed by him and the team because they have spotting. And if you try to get away with it, you show broadside to the entire 8, 9, 10 line. Also, I want to go a bit more sea-based. I don't want to go complete outside. Anyway. But you see how durable this ship is, if you paid attention the last couple of games. Now, as long as you are angled and they don't show broadside, they are very tanky. So use that to your advantage. But also don't get in the position of no return, how I call them, where you are just getting farmed over seconds or minutes. Now again, if it would be a CV game and there would be more to go, more people here, then I would probably play on the outside, but we're gonna go in the inside. Also, just because the CV player is currently at A, that doesn't mean I change my plans, because he can rotate very quickly if he wants to. Oh, he's smoking me out. Well, that's very nice. My smoke fine penalty is 12.7, which is pretty big for a cruiser, but still decent. Which is more than enough to shoot a Vermont at like 80 cam. But yeah, with the Shima spotting we can utilize this island a bit here. Okay. Good. The Schlieben shows exactly why I didn't want to go in that position, because now he's gonna get farmed very quickly. 2 BBs, a destroyer, no really good chance to go there. It's Yoshino. The brick is showing somewhat broadside, but we want to get a permafire on him, nevertheless. Good. Shima is capping currently. We're gonna move a bit forward here. There are no real crossfires on it currently. And very good. Mr. Schlieffen into the ship away. Which is a shame because that would be a very powerful ship to utilize now. I'm spotted. I'm thinking about straightening here because the D could be quite in the open. Let's see. Okay, he's not. He's more on the outside. Good to know. I thought maybe we could get a shot for the Colombo here. We're also gonna go in now and try. What we try now is to get as much map as we can. Because currently all BBs are hiding behind the mountain and nobody has a crossfire. Unless that's a ranged mod GK, he shouldn't be able to shoot us even here. Spotting is a miracle, yeah. Unfortunately, we lost 2 ships again. Shima's going for B cap, which is very nice though. And we also know that the DD is still here, because those were Yoshino torps. Yeah, look, they're still going. So that's the second set. Unfortunately, this one might actually hit me. Because, oh, no. Okay. I wanted to say, I should have enough reaction time against Yoshino Torps. He's turning around though, he wants to get another set off. Now we gotta be very careful here. If Colombo, what's Colombo's HP? Okay, he still has quite some HP. If Colombo disengages completely, there might be a Vermont charging me in the back. Would be a very interesting sight to see, honestly, having a Vermont charging you. But yeah. Good, now we gotta be very careful here. I'm gonna defend the objective. But at the same time, I need to be very careful because the CV will go for me. We should be still angled enough simply against St. Vincent though. And this bro is showing a lot of broadside to me. Good, very good. We're gonna reverse here. We don't want to end up against the chunky man. Also gonna radar again to see. Okay, Haaland is in the back. Just to have an idea what could potentially come from the back. Still have some HP to play with. And we're gonna get the Vincent. Vermont is committing. We're not gonna damage con the fires because they're over anyway now. We try to finish off the Vermont. We're gonna damage con this fire though. Now Vermont can still death strike me if he knows where to aim. Which we need to be very careful now about. Okay, he uses only his front guns, we have a decent chance of surviving. I know I have the Haaland behind me, but I can't really do something about him right now. Okay, he knew. Okay, a bit unfortunate, he knew where to aim. A lot of people would have... No, not a lot of people, but some people would have aimed on the waterline and ricocheted, but he knew he needs to hit the upper belt. A bit unfortunate. Also, it was a bit kind of that we didn't get citadels, but we should get them. We suddenly got like no hits or shatters on him on the broadside, which I don't really understand in all honesty. Is it a trade? Good. GG. Yeah, a lot of people would have aimed for the icebreaker. Unfortunately, he knew where to aim, and it's a Vermont, which is very accurate. And I did expect to do more damage, because we did get one citadel, but afterwards we just didn't really do anything, which was kind of But anyway, we don't need to watch this right now, because it's just gonna be, well, a back and forth. But I hope you kind of enjoyed this guide to understand what is important about the cruisers. And again, I didn't want to like present now a 300k game to say, hey, this is how you do it. There's always a portion of luck in it as well, and what you can do. But I gave you these 3 games so you got an idea. And don't throw a ship away, because we never got Death Strike, which is probably one of the main important things I want to give with you. Don't show broadside in these ships if you don't need to, and as long as you carefully prepare your moves, you will, unless some extremes, you will barely be in a threat of being broadsided. As long as you pay attention to the minimap and the positioning, you can reduce these threats by quite a lot. So, thank you for watching. Be sure to check out Twitch. I'm live there 5 days a week, and sub to the YouTube channel. It would really help me out. Give a thumb up, And have a great time, you travelers. Bye bye.